Hello everyone, VJose32 back again, finally with another deck report. First of all, I'm going to be trying something a little bit different today. People are always asking me, saying that I should show the cards, pictures, so I'm going to try something a little bit different to try to accommodate that. But before we get into that, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about cardlauncher.com. Cardlauncher.com, it's my understanding, is now dead. It's done. They had one project that was successful, barely, which I hope to get the cards soon. The others were not even close. They didn't even hit the 50% mark. And there wasn't any money to be made. The owners have found a better way to make money as a result through wholesaling, so good for them. Uh, Kickstarter is always a better route, in my opinion, anyway, because there's a larger reach, a larger audience to put your product out to, and I mean, Kickstarter is not perfect. They do have issues, as does Amazon, but it works anyway. I also mentioned that the other day, Figure 11 released a new deck, sort of. It was a re-release of White Monarchs. It's my understanding that there was some minor differences, very minor differences from the previous version, including a slightly different custom seal. Big whoop. I didn't get any myself, but if anyone wants to trade or whatever, I'll be more than happy, just so I can see if I can actually see any differences. And David Blaine released his new Black Gatorbacks a few days ago. Believe they might still be available. You can either buy a brick once again, like last time with the green ones, or you can buy just two. Shipping internationally, at least to me, for two, basically double the price, which was ridiculous. So I ended up paying $16 for two decks, and then over $17, almost $18 for shipping to Canada, which is almost twice as much as what I should be paying in shipping, to be fair. But anyways, it is what it is. At least I didn't have to buy a brick again, even though I could have resold them and maybe made a lot of money. But anyway, and the new Madison deck, the Madison Kings, is coming soon. I don't recall exactly when, but it's coming soon. Let's get on to Kickstarter though. First of all, we got the Venexiana Dark playing cards, which is 107% funded, 16 days to go by Lautrec. I'll try to work on something here. We'll see what we can do. That's what you get. You get, there's two different versions. Hopefully you can read that. Let's try to improve this even more. If we can. That's much better. Two different versions, the Master Edition and the Revealed Edition, aside from one being silver and one being gold. The differences are that, I move along, there's custom seals and everything. There's your back design, pretty cool. And the gold one, which has red borders. Very nice. The Ace of Spades. Some of the faces, pretty cool. The difference is, as you can see, is that the masked ones have masks on their face. The revealed ones don't, and they're also revealing stuff like cards. As you can see, that guy's revealing a card that he's holding the opposite direction there. He's revealing a little bit of skin, I think. It's pretty cool. It's definitely interesting. We'll move along. Next up is the Sisu Four Beasts playing cards, which is a relaunch, and it's doing very well this time around. 130% funded, 23 days remain. And just bear with me a second. I'm going to actually change this in a minute how I'm doing this because it's obviously not working very well. Okay, so the Four Beasts. And this deck is pretty cool. It's got mythical, ancient Chinese mythology. It's based on, inspired by ancient Chinese mythology. Spades are based on the Azure Dragon, hearts and the Vermilion Bird, clubs the Black Tortoise, and diamonds the White Tiger. And they got some really cool cards, as you can see, and also the back design, as you can see right there a little bit. And these are going to be printed by Legends Playing Card Company, and free worldwide shipping right from Legends. Pretty cool coin. And that is the Sisu Four Beasts. Alright, so next up is the Bicycle Metal Riderback playing cards, some collectible playing cards, and it's designed by Max of Max Playing Cards. It's currently 284% funded with 22 days remaining, if I recall correctly. And here's what it is. It's a deck that has a metallic look to it. It's a Riderback. A little bit pricey, but pretty cool. And it's going to get pricier after the fact. Fairly standard code cards, but nice colors, nice look. I apologize, I'm going a little bit fast, and that is that. I'll take that. The Joker's got a reveal, pretty awesome. And there's a coin as well. Just really neat. That's the Bicycle Metal Riderback. Okay, so next up is the Draconian Playing Cards by Randy Butterfield of Midnight Cards. I believe it's currently 100 somewhat percent funded. I forget exactly what. And there is 47 hours remaining. As you can see, it's pretty awesome. I mean, check out those back designs featuring like dragon scales, dragon skin. It's kind of a blue one and an orange one. Face is somewhat standard, as you can see, but still customized and nice. And the aces are all custom. Very nicely done. Cool coin. That is that one, and it's 175% funded with 47 hours, as you can see. Next up is the Delightful Poker Cards, which is really a lame attempt. Here's the court cards. They look like children. And the aces have a little customization. And that is it. There's no back design. There's no tuck case. Nothing. And that is why it's only 5% funded. With 7 days to go. It's not going to happen. Next up is the Choice Playing Cards by Ben Colazzi. It's 103% funded with about 6 days to go. Finally funded. This is a relaunch. It didn't make it the first time. Let's see if we can actually see what the cards look like. Somewhat. There's a court card. It's inspired by your standard court cards, obviously, but with some nice touches, customizations. Kind of hard to see the cards. Jokers, pretty cool. Here's some of the cards again. I don't know if they're not colored because that's how it's going to be, or what, but I think those are just sketches basically. But you can see here how it was inspired and refined from the actual standard court card. It's just really nice. And sorry. And I'm trying to find the back design. They don't have too many good images of the back design, but this is what you get. And they have stretch goals for like a double backer and stuff like that, as you can see. But Oh, and there's a back design. Simple back design, but still cool. They're funded. They're not going to hit the stretch goals for the red deck and whatnot. Oops. They might hit some of the other stretch goals for GAF cards, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'm happy it got funded this time around. And 103% with 6 days to go. That's that one. Next up is the bicycle Eerie from Gambler's Warehouse, which is based on vintage classic horror movie characters. It's 100 somewhat percent funded. I forget exactly what. 115% funded. Whoops. 24 hours remain. Pretty cool art, as you can see. Although again, it reminds me a lot of the other decks like skulls and black faces and whatnot. There's two different ones. There's the red one, which is kind of standard, and there's a limited purple one with only 1,500 being produced somehow. Both bicycle. Pretty interesting art, but again, similar to some of their other decks. And I had decided pretty much not to back any more of their projects. I'll just get them afterwards on their website and combine shipping. And same with collectible playing cards. To save on money. So that's that. That's that one. It's funded. 24 hours remain. Go check it out. Next up, Steampunk Beginnings. Bicycle Steampunk Begins from Nathaniel Mortensen. 57% funded with 7 days to go. Not particularly doing very well. As many people mentioned in the comments and whatnot, it probably has to do with the fact that he still has not fulfilled his previous projects, hasn't even received them yet, and people are reluctant to give him money as a result. Here's some of the art. Pretty cool. As I mentioned before, the borders on the back design way too big. And also, as you can see in the aces, they got these unnecessary pips in the corners. These are not court cards, so I don't know why they need that. I would remove it myself. But outside that, it's not a bad looking deck. It's just not going to fund, from what I can tell, because people are still waiting for the other decks that he created. So that's that one. Okay, then we got this one, the Bicycle Titanic playing cards from Robert Tomlinson. Doing very well, 229% funded, 10 days to go. I do highly recommend it, because it's freaking awesome. It's one of a kind, unique. I've talked a lot about this one. Here's part of the back design. Some of the faces, which are pretty cool. And there's all sorts of stuff you can get. Whoops. There's this, I believe this is the deluxe edition here with a side opening tuck case printed by, I guess, Expert Cards. There's another face for you. And then there's all sorts of awesome add-ons. And there's a couple different decks. You can get the Death decks. There's only 1,514 available, one for every person who died on the Titanic. And there is the Life decks, which just have a different tuck case. At only 710 available, one for every person that lived. So it's a more limited version, obviously. And you can also get an unbranded version as well. Then there's this, industry first. Every deck has its own unique, one-of-a-kind seal. There's a different one for each class, first class, second class, third class, etc. Each one, as you can see, has a name of a person, a serial number unique to the deck, and the age and sex of the person, and it tells you if it's first class, second class, whatever. Very unique. Every deck is unique. At least the those ones. Pretty cool jokers. Then there's add-ons. You can get this, a boarding pass, which has all the information on the person, which is really awesome. A replica gold coin from 1912, and a book that lists each and every one of the passengers. Boxes, keepsake boxes, really nice. It looks like luggage from the 1900s. It also comes with the person's name on it if you want, and it's got enough room to store your decks and all the other add-ons. Custom brick box, which is pretty cool. a cabin key, which will be specific to the person that you are getting, if you're getting one of those decks that have a specific person. And you can also get standard stuff like dice, a t-shirt, poker chips, and there's also a custom coin. And you can add on previous decks like the Colonial Unrest. So it's a pretty awesome project. I do suggest checking it out. And this Titanic is definitely one of a kind. The next one is Alien Inc. Flowers Playing Cards Infinity Edition. Somehow it's 1,263% funded. That being said, it's barely over $1,000. 4 days remain. It's a 6 or 7 day project. And this is all you get to see. Like their previous Infinity deck on the Galaxy cards, they're not showing you what the cards look like. They're not telling you what they look like. You have to buy them sight unseen. And I am just not going to do that. Not taking into consideration the fact that they don't want to sell to me anyway, but it's overpriced, at least if it's anything like the price on the previous one, which is like 20-25 bucks, and I don't know what I'm getting, and I don't like that. If I'm going to get something, especially on Kickstarter, you gotta know what you're getting. I don't recommend backing it unless they want to show you what you're getting. I mean, I like the mystique part and everything, but it's a Flowers deck. It's Aliens Inc. Move on. Next up, the Montague Collection playing cards, 18% funded, 12 days to go. It's basically what you get. Cards. There's this gold deck. There's also a silver deck that have African American inventors on each card. Back design is right here. It's not going to fund. Whoops. Problem being, like I said, 18% funded, 12 days to go. Problem being, it's a little bit pricey, and it's just, I guess, not that cool. Then we get to this. Bicycle Rongo. This is their third attempt because the first one failed. The second one is cancelled because they decided, oh, USPC is going to allow us to print only 1,000 decks. So now we can actually do it USPC. And then USPC changed their mind right after they did that, and it's like, oh crap. Well, anyways, there's multiple decks. There's a gold one, a black one, and a gilded one, which is actually gold, and the gold one's actually blue, which is kind of bizarre. I'll show you some of the faces a bit. And there's other versions that they're looking at doing as well. However, right now they're 55% funded, 35 days to go. If you're one of the first 300 backers, you actually get all the decks you pledged for signed, which is pretty cool. Basically, the deck, if I can find it in the art, is based on Easter Island tribal things. It's pretty interesting, as you can see. I'm not sure why they call this the gold deck. It's blue. There's a little bit of gold on it, but it's mainly blue. This is gold, but that one has gilded edges. And those aren't going to be unlocked. That's a pretty cool little image. So that's that. Third attempt. They did not make it the first couple of times, obviously. I don't know if they're going to make it this time. They still got lots of time. They're 55% funded. But, I don't know. I'm not myself right now. It's not too big up on the artwork. The problem is, it's a deck on Easter Island, which I don't think too many people particularly care about. It's interesting, but it's obviously hasn't made it so far, so we'll see what happens. Next up is the Fine Line playing cards. 330% funded with 15 days to go, I believe. And this is what you get. Every card in this deck is completely custom and unique. The back design is a little bit dark, a little bit hard to see in this picture. They haven't given us any really good clear pictures of the back design, but there's not much going on. There is no pips or numbers or letters on any of the faces, as you can see. Every card has different, I don't know if you can see it better anywhere else. There you go. Different images that you're supposed to be able to identify what the value and the suit is by looking at the picture. there's one suit that looks like it has just words on it. There's others that have other stuff on them. It's interesting. I don't think it's very usable for anything. The good news is they're already getting it printed by the USPC. They already sent them half of their money, and they're just doing this to get the rest of their money, which is awesome. I wish more Kickstarters would do that, because it would be a lot faster turnaround time instead of waiting 5 or 6 months or whatever. Anyways, that is that. Pretty interesting. More coming up. Next up, fire dragons and other rare creatures. I'm not going to bother to look into it, but it's basically, it is what it is. Different mythological creatures and dragons on each face. 247% funded, 12 days to go. Next up, the Wizard of Oz deck. 87% funded, 18 days to go to buy Albino Dragon. Unfortunately, Albino Dragon is no longer shipping internationally for anything, because apparently international customers are too much of a burden. It costs too much money, it's too much of a hassle. Thank you, Albino Dragon. You say you don't hate international customers, but you certainly don't seem to care about it too much. We're too much of a burden for you, apparently. Too much of a headache. So that's the way I feel you come across as in that update you had on your website, and that's what it sounds like to me. Anyways, let's look at this. 87% funded, 18 days to go. It will fund, should fund. I wouldn't mind getting it myself, but because I'm not in the States and there's licensing issues, I can't get it. And also because they don't ship internationally. And why is my freaking phone so slow? Now, this is being done to celebrate the 75th anniversary. There's two different decks. There's an unlimited version, and there is a 75th anniversary version. The differences are, well, this is the unlimited deck. It's got kind of brown faces with a wooden look to them. And the 75th anniversary deck, which is limited, has white faces with a nicer look. So that's that. Next up, Monster Pinup Girls. I think you can see enough there. Not a very good back design. It's 43% funded, 17 days to go. Wow, these usually don't have too much success, and it doesn't look like this one's going to be any different. And next up, we got these silver aeroplane cards by Jackson Robinson. It's currently 37% funded. Ouch! With 11 days to go. He had a massive goal of $50,000, which is usually not an issue for him, since he usually has multiple decks in the project with other add-ons and very interesting decks, like a Sherlock Holmes deck or a Federal 52 deck. Interesting decks, interesting themes. This is a deck that's inspired by, printed by the actual playing card company, no less, but it's inspired by the CAM aeroplane cards, and it's what you get. It's a nice back. There's two versions, a slate edition with a darker back, and a pearl edition with a lighter back. And the face is nice and custom, as you should expect from Jackson Robinson. They have changed these pips into red on the slate version, the standard one. The pearl edition, which is more limited, has only been given away, will have these silver faces on it. It's nice. It's got all the bells and whistles, embossing, foil, good stock and finish. It's all tricked out. They only cost $6 each. However, you have to buy at least two. And if you want the pearl edition, you have to buy a brick, and you can get either one pearl deck or two. I'm not sure if it's still just one or if you get only two. But it would be 10 decks, 10 slate decks, and 2 pearl edition decks. And I'm not sure if you can still get 11 and 1, but that's how it originally was. The problems, like I said, I mentioned them already. This may be Jackson Robinson's first failure on Kickstarter. It's not looking good. He's not even halfway there. It looks like he's actually going down in pledging, and time is running out. And his previous project, the Army deck, he canceled it because he wasn't happy with it or something. Wanted to make changes, and now he's got this one, which is doing terrible. Jackson Robinson is going down, apparently. Next up, Next up is the Impressions playing cards by Make Playing Cards, MPC. This is direct from them. And there is a few different versions. There's a Stealth Edition, which is basically black on black. There's a good shot of it right there. As you can see, the cards are embossed, essentially. You can actually feel that texture on the cards, which is pretty awesome. There's also a standard version, and again you can kind of see that embossing type effect. There is this court edition, which has a one-way court card similar to some previous USPC decks, and there is this new Phantom Edition deck, which is basically white on white. It's 1,533% funded with 11 hours to go. It's pretty awesome. You should go check it out. Next up, Super Suits playing cards. It is funded 201% funded, I believe. 5 days remain. It's got a superhero theme to it. As you can see, there is a black deck and a white deck, as they call it. Pretty cool. You can also there's your faces, inspired by different superheroes like Batman and Superman and whatnot. Custom pips. I think it's being printed by Make Playing Cards, but I'm not entirely sure. That's just freaking cool. The black deck. You get free pins. This one you get free with the black deck, which I don't think you can actually get anymore unless you add it on, if that's possible. And you get these ones free with the other decks. Also, everyone who backs gets a free mini deck. That's pretty awesome. So it's a little bit pricey, but you do get all these nice free bonuses. And I like the court card. Look at that. It's a Joker. Literally. Anyways, that's that. Then we got the installment cards, which that's basically what you get. It's 17% funded, 54 hours to go. It was dead from the beginning. Yeah. Basically, every card has something that's supposed to instill some good thought into your brain. Apparently, it didn't instill enough of that into backers because nobody wanted to back it. Then we got this, a new deck, the Bicycle Olympus, which has a gods and goddesses theme to it. 90% funded, 32 days remain. And here's a look at some of the faces. Red faces, as you can see, burgundy colored. Pretty interesting. As is the back design. USPC printed, obviously. And that's what you get, basically. As I mentioned, it does have free shipping to Canada and the US, so that is an awesome bonus. $11 for a deck of cards, can't go wrong with that. And there's these Glass Legends playing cards. It has ended, 238% funded, it's done. But you can see all the code cards have different mythological type creatures with a kind of stained glass look. Bicycle Brimstone playing cards from Gambler's Warehouse. 145% funded, that one's ended now as well. There was a aqua colored version that was new, and a reprint of the original red version. You can get them on the website later. There's the Kingdoms of Erden playing cards, a second version. 72% funded, 28 days to go. It should fund, but in my opinion, it's not going to get that much funded because it's basically the same thing as the last one. Just the code cards are a little bit different. Concentric playing cards, this one did not succeed. 23% funded, that was it. It's finished. But they are planning to relaunch next spring once they improve on things. Pack of Dogs playing cards, 91% funded, 7 days to go. It may not get funded. It's too close to call. Basically, every card features different images with dogs and pips. Similar to the Manuel Jose decks, but not as good in my opinion. Bicycle Revenge playing cards, 41 days to go, 10% funded. That's about where it's going to be. It's not going to fund. This is your back design. It has this symbol on it. Kind of lame, and the faces are not very good either. Bicycle Vintage Vampires, a new deck from Nat Iwata, 40% funded, 26 days to go. It's got all sorts of cool vintage classic vampires. It should fund. It's a bicycle deck, by the way. Bicycle Sky Descender playing cards. 9 days left, 83% funded. It's going to be very close, in my opinion. It's been struggling a little bit. Oh yeah, here's an idiot. 47 hours to go. He's trying to sell free, lame, simple beginner tricks. Yeah, not gonna work. Greenback, second edition from our buddy the Cardists, Ashley Acton. 30 days left, 28% funded. Not sure it's gonna make it. It is gonna be expert point guard printed with a nice new side opening tuck case. Much thinner borders, some improvements to the faces, but it's fairly similar to the original one. Then there's this. Forget the Wizard of Oz deck, because 4PM Designs has finally unleashed a new deck called Nightmare of Oz. And it features a lot of color. It's not the best in my opinion, could be better. Some of the indexes are a little bit hard to read. And the court cards, you can kind of see one there in gold, a little bit could be better as well. It's 26% funded, 49 days to go. It may make it, I'm not sure yet. Really early to tell. Then there's this, the Patriot playing cards, 1% funded, 28 days to go. Not going to happen. This is what the Ace of Spades looks like. All the cards are really patriotic like that. It's just, could have been executed better, in my opinion, and that of others. Amigos playing cards, 30% funded, 20 days to go. Not going to happen. $30,000, just way too high of a goal for cards that are lacking a little bit, as you can sort of see. The Smiley deck, Mr. Smiley there, 2% funded. It's not smiling right now, I'm pretty sure. 11 days to go. Not going to happen. That's what you get on every card. Lame ass smileys that look like they're drawn by a kid. And about 38 of them on the back design with a lot of white around the edges. And that's it. I apologize for not showing you more of these other decks, but I just didn't have that much time. I have to go. Also, the Pink Ribbon deck from Gambler's Warehouse was sadly cancelled. It only had like $400. The good thing is he's actually going to donate that amount of money, even though he's not making that money, to the Breast Cancer Society, but it was just not a very good attempt. You could just get the USB-C version, the bicycle version, and actually support them directly. And apparently they were going to donate proceeds originally, but then they realized they can't. And I think there was another deck that canceled as well, I can't recall. Anyways, that's that. I apologize if it's a little bit long. Hopefully you like this better. Feedback is always good. I'll see you next time.